Yes. Hello, Richard. Welcome.
Alan, hi, hi.
Yeah, I would like to ask you to briefly introduce yourself to
Sure.
our audience,
Mhm.
and let's go on. Yeah, please.
Okay, sure, surely. So my name is Richard Berg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Business Smart International. We started about 15 years ago with the idea of helping people to make better business decisions, and our main clients tend to be large corporates or business schools, and we focus very much in the area of simulations, experiential learning, learning by doing. That's what we do.
Good. So how many years you've been in that business, Richard?
So 15 years in total. We have
15 years.
a history before that of working in other
Yeah.
areas, but 15 years of solidly focused on simulations.
Good. Good. Thank you. Uh, Yeah, what I would like to talk to you is that 15 years is a quite good time to make a comparison, I guess. And if you make a comparison like for the last 20 years or 15 years, so what do you see, in terms of the learning and development challenges as of today? So I know that there are different challenges, but
Sure.
how do you compare? How do you see these challenges?
I think if you look at the depends on what you're looking to talk about, general learning or development or in the corporate world. Let's talk about the corporate world first of all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's speed. It's two things: relevance and speed. So um, what we're finding is that learners want learning immediately, and they want it to be absolutely relevant to what their role and position is. Um, they want to be engaged. Especially now we're in that sort of COVID era. It was coming. It's been quite a while coming. This whole online digital, but particularly now it's become very much a digital environment. I don't think that's going to go away. So I think the things we're looking at really are relevance, speed, and digital. And again, I think, getting back, just pushing this relevance, relevance, relevance. What's in it for the business? What's in it for me? Why should I learn? Because there's so much going on in the world. Learners don't want to spend a lot of time in things they don't think are worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. When you talk about speed, to me, it's like time and the relevance exactly is the number one thing. People, nobody wants to get involved to any kind of content that doesn't have any relationship with their business life or doesn't have any impact to their business life, of course.
Absolutely.
So, okay, yeah, but in that sense, when you talk about the relevance, what is the best way to approach to these challenges? How we can address these challenges?
Okay, so I think first of all we have to always look at the individual or the group and what their real needs are. In other words, we have to address their learning needs. Now that can be sometimes a bit of a challenge to find out what they are, and I think one of the things that must be impressed upon with learning and development is that you need to understand the business that these folks are working in, or the environment or the organization, so you can understand their language. You talk the same language as they do. You can understand what their real needs are. So then you can start to begin with the end in mind. So you can start to say, okay, this is what their outcomes need to be. This is what they want. How can we design a learning and development program that will be good for them? And the other area, again, going back to relevance. So then we have to start thinking, begin with the end in mind. What really are their objectives? What is going to be relevant to help them to do this? And then we start going into the area where we started to build our business, which is taking learners from a passive type of learning, which is, traditionally listening to somebody or listening to a PowerPoint or that reading a book, to make them more engaging, to start getting people to take an active participatory role, experiential learning, learning by doing. And that could be within groups, um, working together in groups and or simulations. And again, to this engagement, and it's got to be fairly concise for the learner, because they want it immediately, and they want it in nugget size, so they can benefit from that. That's I think that's where we're coming from now.
Okay, yeah, Richard, I agree. I totally agree with you. Uh, Passive to active, uh, active experiment. So we need to bring these people to an experience. And that brings us to another place, which is the engagement. So how we will keep these people engaged, because they may have some fears or some doubts to get involved. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've been having that challenge for 15 years, and I think by now we've kind of got it right. We've worked with lots of large corporates and business schools exactly in this area. So how do we engage these learners? The first thing is people tend to think it's going to be great technology. Well, there's a methodology that sits on top of the technology. And what we have to understand is how learners learn, how they best like to be engaged, how they best learn to experience the learning. And there's a couple of things that came up, and it alludes a little bit to the question before about this learner journey. For many, many years, learning has been the same way. It's been the Socratic method. There's a teacher, talks, and the rest of the class just listen. Now we're in a situation where we can actually use our technology and methodology to make it even more engaging. And the way we do that is we say to them, look, you can have an experiential learning experience. You can actually get involved into a simulation that can put you in a situation that you become engaged. Now, on top of that, you can the way primates learn, and they like to learn, is in groups and collaboration. So we can actually put them in an environment where they can work in teams together on this challenge, on this experiential challenge, and we can make it relevant. So, and then on top of that, we can also have a bit of gamification. We can make it a bit of competition between the teams or the individuals. All of these factors help to engage the individual. Now, you're quite right. It can be daunting to begin with. People might think, well, I'm a bit out of my comfort zone here. Again, it's having the experience and the technology to deliver something that is seamless, that is easy to use, that people immediately understand. And we spend a lot of time and a lot of money on our technology and methodology, getting it right so people can feel comfortable in the environment. They can work in teams, or they can work individually or in teams. They can collaborate. They can also have an experience that's relevant to their learning needs. And also what they can do is they can see how well they're doing against their peers, a bit of competition. All of that generates this engagement, this fun, and it makes it worthwhile for the learner.
Yeah, fun, of course. Nothing is, attractive without fun.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Okay. I want to wrap up a little bit. What I heard from you is the most important thing is always, of course, relevance. So what's in it for me as a learner, and of course the speed, because we are unfortunately living in a very fast, I don't know, the environment now, the whole context, everything is happening. Everything's happening so fast, and technology, of course, is one of the things that drives this speed. And finally, despite all these speed and technology and everything, we are anyway looking for fun.
Absolutely.
And gamification and competence and competition. These are bringing the fun into our learning solutions.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Good. The last thing is actually I want to ask you is, this is kind of, I can summarize the best effective learning engagement. Okay. Do you have another thing to add to these points, like relevance, speed, technology, competition, gamification? You want to add some other factors to that?
I think that we're in a very fortunate position at the moment that we can at last start to, if you like, go back in time in our look and say, how do we best learn? What is the most engaging and best way for us to learn? And if we look at, primates, or think about cavemen and how they learned originally, this was thousands of years ago. Well, they used to learn by trial, by doing, by checking things out, making decisions, seeing what failed, seeing what worked, that experiential learning. So we're in a position where we can do that with simulations. But also what we like to do, we like tribes, for instance. We like to work together. We like to collaborate. We like to work in teams. So we can do that in our learning as well and put them through simulations where it's a team event. And we can also make it individual, so they have the option there. And again, to make that fun, often we like to, as humans, like to compete. Not where it's the end of the world, but it's a bit of fun to see how well you do against your peers or your other teams. We make it almost like a team sport, how well we're doing. All of these things we can do in this environment we've created with digital technology. So we're in a very fortunate position right now that we can include lots of areas that are actually innate to humans. That is the best way to get them to learn and help them to learn. And we can do that with our technology. So there's no reason why we cannot have the most engaging, fun, relevant learning experiences that is possible, because and it's based on how well and the best way to have humans help humans to learn.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Richard. I think it was so powerful, and it was right to the point, and very important. I think points, especially the relevance, speed, technology, and competition. I won't forget that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.